Welcome back to the loom. I have decided to start a new project, and there is a baby blanket in the works in something called the log cabin pattern. I'm going to get into the pattern afterwards, but what I wanted to show you, because I'm in the process of bringing the rigid heddle loom back up to speed, I'm replacing all of the strings that hold the front and back beam on, and I decided to do, I fought with getting the string in the little holes for a few minutes. Longer than I should have, because really. And then I remembered I had this darning needle. So I'm a fan of working smarter, not harder. So you can partially thread the darning needle through the hole in the wood, pull it through, and then attach it without the frustration of trying to put string down that little hole by itself. So I figured I learned this. You can learn from my consternation. That's a good word. I'm going to be back afterwards. We're going to actually warp the loom tonight. We're going to talk about how the log cabin pattern is set up and what it does, why it does what it does, and then we'll be back.
Go ahead.
So this is log cabin weave, and you've seen me pull up this program before on iWeave LT, and I've laid it out so that I can see what's going to happen on the loom. So as you can see, I've got it set up for the rigid heddle, so it's only 1 and 2. It's pretty straightforward, and that means we have on the top, when we're doing the warp, we've got each hole in each eye will be threaded right across, and it goes whole eye, straight across. And down here, when we're doing the weft, we're going to be looking at one of each, one, then the other, then one, then the other. Okay. The difference is, and how it makes this really cool pattern, is through the color variation. So watch what happens up top here when we're looking at the colors. So we're going to go light, sorry, that's dark, that's dark. Dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, dark, light, dark, light. And it does that. So it's 5 dark, 4 light, in a repeating pattern. And then you do the same down the side, right? So we have dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, light, dark, dark. Now, when I was doing this on the program, I wanted to make sure that I had it lined up properly. And so what I'm doing as I go down to make sure, I'm counting them off for rows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, change color on 10. And then that becomes 1 again. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, change color. That becomes 1. And I did that 3 times so that I could see the pattern, and it is just a visual shift. Now, I also chose colors that are kind of appropriate to the colors that I've chosen for this project. Now, I'm going to take you to the loom, and I did a lot of thinking about how I was going to get this warped. Let me show you what I've come up with. I'm not sure if it's going to work. I think it will. This will be an adventure for all of us. 1 second. You'll recognize this. Here we have our peg. We're doing a direct warp. And there's our 2 colors, a light and a dark blue. Now, I have seen a couple of videos, I think there's only 2 out there right now, on how to direct warp a rigid heddle loom for this log cabin pattern. And in each situation, it was a little complex. And then I watched a video by the curmudgeon weaver, and I noted when he was doing his, now he was doing it for a 4-shaft loom. He did it, he warped on a warping board, but he put the 2 yarns together. And so I kind of thought, what if instead of doing each one individually and trying to, laying it out so we've got one in the slot, one in the hole, one in the slot, one in the hole, and figuring out whether it should be light or dark while I'm standing over the loom or looming over the loom. Sorry, had to do it. If there was a way that we could just do it and do a direct warp, and then when I'm sitting in front of the loom and threading the eyes as I normally do, why not use that to my advantage? So that's what I'm doing. So here we have both together, and I'm skipping, see if I can make sure this stays in focus. I'm skipping each and every slot because I will have 4 when you pull it through. You see my hand, there we go. You'll have 4 threads per slot. So I will be able to shift over to and then thread the eyes with the appropriate color. This is the theory. I'm hoping that this is going to work. So this is a whole new learning thing for all of us. Well, mostly me. Hopefully it helps out for you. Let's see how it goes. So what I've done at this point, just to recap, is both colors together through every other slot. Will that focus? There we go. Through every other slot. And then when we wind on the warp, then we're going to put them into the right colors into the appropriate slot or eye. Yeah? Sorry about the finger there. Didn't mean to do that. Let's get this thing finished. I have to finish warping. Good afternoon. So I got all of the yarn warped on the loom. I haven't dressed the loom yet. A couple of terminologies that I'm still wrestling with, and this that we attach things to is an apron. So I did call it a beam. It's wrong. Oh well. Not the end of the world. So here's where we are. Last night it was late, so I wanted to make sure that my feline didn't decide to play with things, so I tied them off, and then I tucked them up over the top. So there's nothing dangling down for him to be overly excited about and decide to do his kitty best to make my life a little more difficult. So what we're going to do today, I'm going to bring this in so you can see, because remember we left this off where I have 4 strands in every other slot. So I'm going to untie this, and I'm going to move 2 of the strands, 1 of each color, into the open slot. So 2 will be switched over here, 2 will be switched over here, 2 will be switched over here. Once that's done, then we're going to go back to the pattern, and we're going to thread the eye based on the pattern that I showed you. Okay, so here we are, and I wanted to show you how I'm getting them into each slot. Last part of this video, I told you that I was going to be taking it from every other slot, which is where things are right here, to every slot, which is where we have it here. And the difference being there's 4 in this one and 2 each in this one. So here's what I'm doing. Separating it out. You can see you can easily separate out 1 of each color, slide it out of the slot, and hook it back through just as we would any other time slaying the reed, and pull it through. Now I like to make sure my threads are secure, and so every 10 I'm just securing them off so that I don't have a whole bunch of yarn, you know, getting all confused and mixed up. So just to show you again, separating out one of each color, pulling it out, putting it into the empty slot that we left. And so basically everything's shifting over by one, and I will have this part done fairly shortly, and then we will bring out the pattern and look at where the lighter color goes and where the darker color goes. Okay. Well, it worked. And with the camera, you can really see, look, come up here, look at that log cabin. It's beautiful. Okay, so since the last bit of video, first thing we did was, let's back it up just a little bit because I'm kind of excited about this because of, well, that. So first thing we did was sorry, I almost dropped my things here, my shuttles. The first thing we did was we warped the loom in every other slot, having four threads. And then we moved over two of them into the next slot. So we had a dark blue and a light blue in each slot, right? And then we followed it simply where I did the 5 of them in the holes light, and then 5 in the holes dark, and 5 in the holes light, and 5 in the holes dark. You want to see it? Check it. Da, 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 da. There we go. Check it out. Light and dark and light and dark, right? And then we'll pop it down to the, I'm going to try not to drop my shuttles here. Whoa. Oh, see, I spaz out too all the time. Okay. Using a rigid heddle loom with one hand is not easy. There we go. Nope, not so much. I need the other hand. So you're going to get it real close here for a second. There we go. Right. All right, so light and dark, all the way across, right? So then the other side of that is when you actually do the weave. I'm such a spaz sometimes. So excited. Okay. So when you're actually throwing the picks, you're going to do it the same way. So we're going to go, I started with the dark, so dark and light and dark and light and dark. And then we're going to switch. So when we get to the light, then we're going to double up on the light and dark light, right? So we're going to flip it. So, and then now this last pick, because it's the same number, starting with the light, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Maybe I'm one off. Hang on. Really hard to count and look at things at the same time here. Try and film it. Okay, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 to the light, right? So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 leaves me at the dark. My next throw is going to be the dark, and then we'll do 10 with the back and forth, dark light, and doing this will create the log cabin all the way up. So I'm super excited. Honestly, the warping of the loom is the part that seems so complicated, and when I did it this way, it really wasn't, and it was quick, and I didn't have to trim the yarn at each end. And yeah, so I hope you find this helpful. I will post pictures both on Instagram as well as, sorry about that, playing with the mic, on my Instagram, as well as I will do one final video when the blanket is complete and show everybody. Super cool. All right, bye.